So here's a question for the day. Will Trump get reelected? And I gotta say probably. And it's funny, I ask this question to a lot of people, and I know a lot of people who they're very politically in tune. They are active in political, not just debates, but they're active in politics, and the people I see who they got a good feel of what other people think. This is not in any way saying that I support him getting reelected. No, I don't. Nor do I support any of the Democrats. I actually interviewed a guy earlier this year, and he was such an idiot. Because he was like, "Oh, which Democratic candidate for president do you support?" And it's like, none of them. And he was baffled by the fact that I don't support any of them. Because I think pretty much all of them have some bad policies. Some are definitely worse than others. But will Trump get reelected? Well, could he lose the popular vote again, or even lose the popular vote by more? Yeah. But the number one thing you got to keep in mind is he won the Electoral College last time by so many votes that if he were to lose some of the states, especially some of those swing states that he had won in 2016, he could still win. He could, for instance, lose Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, and he'd still win. I mean, the scenario we got to think about is like the states that Hillary won. You would assume any other Democrat would win too, but who knows? He could. Nobody was expecting him to win. Nobody was expecting him to win as many electoral college points or votes as he did. And you just think about it. I mean, theoretically, he could win some state that Hillary had won. Doubtful. I very much doubt that would be the case. But I mean, who knows? It could literally just go down to the exact same map we saw last time, with the exact same states going blue and the exact same states going red. But here's a question: are people more politically involved now than they were 3-4 years ago? I mean, is the same level of apathy amongst people? And really, I don't see people more politically active. I see people who are already politically active, maybe, more active in their Facebook commenting, and their, maybe they're watching MSNBC for 2 hours instead of 1 hour. But you go out during a farmer's market, and it's the same, 5 people from the Democratic Party, and it seems a lot like same old crap. I mean, keep in mind how many people actually voted in the 2016 election. Hillary got 63 million votes, something like that. Donald Trump got just over 60 million votes. It's like each of those candidates got less than 25% of the American public to vote for him. I mean, think about that. 120 million plus votes together, and that's not even half the country. There's 330 million people in this country, and neither candidate could even really get a quarter of the population to vote for him. And, you're going to bet a lot on, there's going to be so many new voters who've turned 18, and yeah, but, even if the voting average of the youth was double the national average, and even you said half of young people were going to vote, doesn't mean they're all going to vote for one single political party. And what really upsets me is you got to think about it. Most definitely, they're not going to let the third or fourth parties into the debates, like always. I mean, not since Perot. We haven't seen a third-party candidate in the debates since Perot. He only got in because the guy was a billionaire. He had the capabilities to do it. Before that, it hadn't been for a while either. There was a guy back in, I want to say, it was in either 1976 or 1980 that by the name of Anderson, who ran as a libertarian and got in the debates. But it's going to be one Democrat essentially versus Trump, and Trump, he's now going to be primaried by two different Republicans, Bill Weld and some guy named Walsh, who might be best known for being on Ali G's or Sacha Baron's more recent This Is America show off of Showtime. The Joe Walsh former representative, was got duped on that show, which was pretty hilarious actually. But so Trump's going to have two people primary him, the Walsh guy and Bill Weld, and those aren't actual serious primaries because neither of those guys are going to get on the ballot on all 50 states. I mean, they'd have to be on the ballot in all 50 states, and they'd have to, defeat Trump in so many Republican primaries to beat Trump in the nomination. So, most definitely Trump will be the candidate of the Republican Party in 2020, unless there's some amazing chance that a Republican is able to defeat him on so many states in a primary. Just very unlikely. But so think about who's going to be the Democrat. It's going to probably be Joe Biden. Maybe Kamala Harris, maybe Elizabeth Warren, maybe Bernie Sanders. Very doubtful. I think Biden will win the primary for the same reason that Trump won his primary against all the Republicans. When you have so many damn candidates, it doesn't matter that 70% of them. 70% of them voted for somebody else. You're going to have, one candidate from the Democratic Party is going to get 1%, and one of them is going to get 2%, and one of them is going to get 3%, and one of them is going to get 4%, and then 70% of them will vote for everybody other than Joe Biden. And then, you think about it too, it's like, okay, so maybe Kamala Harris defeats Joe Biden, and she gets more votes in something like California, so you think she's going to get more delegates, but then, Joe Biden got the super delegates, and he got one super delegate, and each super delegate's got, of his guys, they'll come up with some rigged primary system. The Democrats even admitted that. They say, or, they had to admit it in court that they have a rigged primary system. And they're allowed to because they consider themselves a private organization. They don't have to do anything that they don't want to do, which is crap. So it's the rigged election, if you will. It's like everywhere. It's from the primary and how each party does their primary. Then you go into the general election where only two parties are going to be allowed in. So if it became between Joe Biden and Donald Trump I mean, that's just going to be crap. Complete crap. I mean, had Joe Biden ran in 2016, he may have been able to beat Trump. Who knows? But you're going to have the same kind of crap as when Hillary ran. You think about it, it's going to be real similar. You're going to have the vast majority of the people in the Democratic Party not liking the candidate they got, not enthused to work for them, not really wanting to put any effort in. And then you're going to have that whole, history thing, the entire voting record. And on top of it, I mean, the Democrats are really sticking it to each other on their voting records and so forth. I mean, Harris and Biden really have the worst records of the things they've done almost out of all of them. And the rest of the Democrats have been, taking jabs at that. So, I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to think that, with all the candidates the Democratic Party has had, and this is the best they can do, is what Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, maybe Pete Buttigieg, Pete Buttigieg. I mean, really? The funny thing too is there are actually about 250 Democrats who have registered to run as a Democratic candidate for president. And there's only about 30 that have any real name recognition behind them where people actually have ever heard of them. And some of them, they didn't even let them into any part of the first debates. There was a guy from Florida, the guy who had ran for governor and lost. He wasn't allowed into the debate at all. There were a handful of other candidates. Then there's candidates who've come forth since the first debate, like that gosh damn Tom Steyer guy. This guy is a billionaire from San Francisco, gentrifying the city, as I've read, and he has some hack organization, Next Gen or something, some little political action group that's been operating the last couple years, and he's got a little impeachment campaign on top of that. That guy is now apparently running for president. Maybe he'll make it in the next debates. Who knows? But I mean, there's so many of these candidates that are running, and it's just like, each of them, they're taking up 1-2%, and so many of them it's just like ridiculous that they think they even have a chance in hell. Some of them, it's like, you've got shit on your record that would just destroy you. I mean, Beto O'Rourke. His name isn't even really Beto. It's Francis. His real name is Francis O'Rourke. It's a very Irish name, but he pretends to be he pretends as if he's Mexican or something, and he's not. I mean, he's from El Paso. I get that, but Beto O'Rourke, whatever. I mean, guy's got a DUI on his record, and it's like, running for president, that will destroy you, maybe not as much as it would have 10, 15, 20 years ago, but, don't bother running for president. You couldn't even defeat Ted Cruz. And on top of that, he takes more money from oil and gas industry than anybody in the entire Congress, and number 2 in when you include the Senate. Sorry. Only person to defeat him in that is Ted Cruz, which that's just kind of ironic. You got Elizabeth Warren, who, Trump likes to call her Pocahontas, but the fact is she did lie numerous times about being Native American. That should disqualify her. Amy Klobuchar. It's like, no. The crazy old lady from Minnesota who has been, considered aggressive, and they've said that she threw staplers at her staff. I mean, no, don't even bother running for president. There's so many of these damn Democrats who they shouldn't have even bothered running. So many people, and so, like I said, it's probably going to be Biden or Harris. It's most likely going to be, Biden or Harris, and one of them will probably be the presidential candidate. One of them will probably be the vice presidential candidate. But here's the thing: it's like, what has happened in the last 2 or 3 years now? Have we educated ourselves as a nation on the economic factors that really indicate why long-term Trump's economic policies are bad? Have we educated ourselves on history? Did we learn from the 2016? Did we learn why he won in 2016? No. What did they do instead? Instead, they just called everybody stupid, everybody racist who voted for him, and doubled down on the policies and procedures that led up to him winning. There's no realization of truth. Nobody after the election really, blamed the Clinton campaign or the Democratic Party the way they should have. It was all blame Russia, blame Russia, blame Russia. Spent years and millions, tens of millions of dollars investigating something that ultimately turned out to be fake, And there were other nations that did support Donald Trump in the lead up to the election, but you're not going to hear criticism about that, Netanyahu went before the Congress and basically, supported Trump, and there's been no criticism of that. What has the Democratic Party done for the last 2 or 3 years now? I mean, ignored Antifa, gone more to the democratic socialist realm of things, completely ignored third and fourth parties, completely ignored the Greens and Libertarians, tried to shame them for having ran a candidate at all, shame anybody who voted third party, shamed people for not voting, At what point in the last 2 or 3 years has the Democratic Party really, truly explored their policies and why they're so unpopular, Nah, it's not going to happen. So, is it possible that Trump will lose? It's possible. I mean, maybe the Democrats will, rig the election on enough of a level. Maybe, he'll win electoral college points, but then the electors will still go and vote for the other person. Who knows? If Trump only wins by 30 electoral points, and those electoral votes, those people cast their vote, for somebody other than him, then he could lose that way technically. But it's very unlikely. I mean, think back to 2004, George W. Bush was a terrible president, greatly disliked. There were massive rallies all the time, rallies that were much more organic and actual coalitions of, different groups of people coming together to protest. And what we've seen there now for the last 3-4 years is, a non-movement, pretending to be grassroots, almost entirely run by the Democratic Party or people completely loyal to the Democratic Party. And so that sums it up. That's why Trump will probably get reelected, because the complete opposition to Trump has been led by the people who are ultimately the most responsible for him winning.